Upon arriving in Concord, the battalion was split into smaller units to search for guns, powder, and ammunition.
The Americans think that the British have set fire to Concord, which they didn't. They were burning some supplies. They're actually being relatively polite because they were trying not to inflame the population. But the population saw the smoke and figured that the British had just torched the town.
3 companies from the 4th, 10th, and 43rd were sent to guard the North Bridge. It was here that Lieutenant Barker found himself in the thick of the action once again.
During this time, the people were gathering together in great numbers, and taking advantage of our scattered disposition, seemed as if they were going to cut off the communication with the bridge. Our 3 companies drew up in the road on the far side of the bridge, expecting to be attacked by the rebels, who were about 1,000 strong. Captain Laurie, who commanded these 3 companies, sent to Colonel Smith begging him to send more troops to his assistance. But the colonel, being a very fat, heavy man, would not have reached the bridge in half an hour, though it was not half a mile to it. In the meantime, the rebels marched into the road and were coming down upon us when Captain Laurie made his men retire to this side of the bridge, which, by the by, he ought to have done it first, and then he would have had time to make a good disposition. But the rebels got so near him that his people were obliged to form the best way they could as soon as they were over the bridge. The 3 companies got one behind the other so that only the front one could fire. The fire soon began, but there being nobody to support the front company, we were forced to quit the bridge and return towards Concord. 4 officers of 8 who were at the bridge were wounded, 3 men killed, 1 sergeant, and several men wounded.
60 years later, Ralph Waldo Emerson would write his poem, The Concord Hymn, describing the events that unfolded that day. The most famous line, "The shot heard round the world," has been a point of contention between the towns of Lexington and Concord. Should it refer to the shot fired at Lexington Green, or the fight at Concord's North Bridge? Clearly, Emerson was of the opinion that it should refer to the latter.
I would say, as far as the Americans not being the victim anymore, that's when the shooting started.